Hey HTC, welcome to Daily Devos. I'm Pastor George, and today we're looking at Philippians chapter 3, verses 10 and 11. Let's read that together. I want to know Christ, yes, to know the power of his resurrection and participation in his sufferings, becoming like him in his death, and so somehow attaining to the resurrection from the dead. These two verses that we just read today, they come right after the Apostle Paul in this book destroys the fact that we have any possibility of finding favor with God through a religious activity. In fact, I would just add for your consideration that there's an extreme arrogance that comes with the idea that we could perform anything, any kind of religious service, any kind of religious sacrifice, any kind of religious duty, and somehow gain favor with God. Religious activity is actually transactional in its very nature. If I perform this sacrifice or this particular duty, then I'm owed something from the deity that I proclaim to worship. I was in Sri Lanka, and I witnessed the fact that Hindu fishermen would beat themselves and cut themselves in order to appease the fish god. It's a transaction. Basically what they're saying is, I hurt myself, now you owe me some fish. That may seem primitive to you, but I think we can be guilty of the same things. I showed up to church today. I tossed a little money in God's direction. Maybe I gave that homeless person a sandwich. God, I expect a little something from you in return. Paul set aside all of his religious efforts, and he states this, again, I'm quoting, I want to know Christ, end quote. You know, it's through Christ alone that we find favor with God. None of our religious activities matter to the extent of knowing God and finding favor with him. No effort on our part has the ability to reconcile us to God, but in Christ we have all favor in all spiritual blessings. Paul also knew that there was great power that was found in the resurrection of Jesus Christ. You know, the greatest enemy that you and I have is death, and the resurrection took the power of death away forever. So how is that power manifested in your life today? How are you participating? How am I participating in the sufferings of Christ? Well, the answer is going to be found if you pursue the knowledge of Christ. Because if you pursue the knowledge of Christ, you will understand what he was all about, what motivated him, what relentlessly drove him toward the gospel, the pursuit of people who are lost so that they could become found. And when you read about his earthly life, you realize that everything pointed to the cross. Everything pointed to bringing people back into a relationship with God forever. Ridicule, suffering, and even death could not deter Jesus Christ from his laser focus on his mission. So a simple question, what's distracting you or hindering you from the pursuit of your mission? What's holding you back from fully engaging your relational world with the power of the gospel? I think Paul would suggest that a commitment to knowing Christ and fully understanding the power of the resurrection should actually spur us on, regardless of the responses of those around us.